Hi students. In previous session, we have discussed about like what are the Python features, like how it is different from Java, what is the difference between Java programming and Python programming, and also many other features we have discussed. So those who have missed previous demos, like two classes, so you can watch the demos in YouTube. You can watch. You can talk to online team. They will send you the link. You can watch the previous sessions videos. So today we are going to discuss about Python flavors and other important features we are going to discuss. Like if any doubts are there, like if you want to talk to me, at the end of the session, I'm going to give you the time. So what all doubts you are having, you can ask me. And like what I said before is this Python course. It is for 2 months. So duration is 2 months. So within 2 months, I'll try to complete all the chapters in core Python and also all the chapters in advanced Python. So core and advanced Python will take 2 months time. After that, we are going to discuss about the project also. So that project will be like for 1 week or 10 days. Whatever concepts you learn in the class, all we are going to implement in the project. And here we are going to discuss about interview question and answers, and then we'll discuss about certification question and answers. Like all here, this training is like a project-oriented training. So we'll focus on theory part and also programming. So from each chapter, we are going to discuss like a 20 or 25 programs we'll discuss. Like overall, 300 to 400 programs we are going to discuss in my classes. So that's why I'm saying like it is like a project-oriented training. And every day I will send you the recorded session, and also I will send you the notes also, day-wise notes or chapters-wise notes. I'll send to your mail IDs. So once if you register for the course, once if you join for this course, then I will send you the recorded videos, previous demos, previous class videos, and notes. All I'll send to your mail IDs. So today we'll continue with the other Python flavors and features we are going to discuss. And here when you see the Python version here, Python latest version is here in python.org. We can see the latest version. That is 3.10 is the latest version. So all the examples in core and advanced Python are based on latest version only. So in latest version, we are going to see all those examples here. And here when we say about Python, it is the powerful language, and it is a general purpose programming language. Like in Python, any application or any project can be developed. So as I said in previous classes, it is not for one type of applications or one category of applications. So it is for any type of application. It can be business application, it can be desktop application, or it can be a website or web application, or it can be scientific application, or networking application, or it can be games or animations applications, anything we can develop. And about the history of Python, all we have discussed in previous classes. I do not want to repeat all those. So now we'll continue with the other concepts. Those have missed the previous classes, so please watch my previous videos. Previous class videos you can watch in YouTube. Otherwise, you can talk to online team. They will send you the link. So now here you can see flavors of Python is there. In Python language, we can see different flavors. We can say implementations of Python. Like for example, when you work with C language, in C language, different flavors are there. Like Turbo C is there, ANSI C is there, like Borland C is there. So students will learn Turbo C. Turbo is the name of the compiler. Okay. So in C language, we can see flavors. In Python, we are having flavors. So in every software, we can see different flavors we can see here. So here you can see first one C Python is there. Okay. So C Python means it is the combination of C and Python you can see here. Okay. So it is written in C and Python. So it is having C libraries and it is having Python modules are existing here. Python programs or Python modules are there. And here while working with this, so here C Python is the default and most widely used implementation. So C Python is default. It is default and it is most widely used implementation of the language here. Okay, so most widely used means like those are working with Python, it means that they are working with C Python. Okay, like when students are learning Python, so it means that they are learning what C Python, because Python language default implementation is a C Python. Okay, so it is C Python is compiled and it is interpreted. So yesterday I've told very clearly. I've shown you the diagram also. Like C Python is it is compiled and it is interpreted. Yesterday we saw the diagram. So here you can see Python program. If you write a program in Python, it is compiled and it will use bytecode. Okay, so bytecode means middle level language will say. It is called as intermediate code or assembly language will call. Again, this bytecode is sent to PVM, Python virtual machine. So PVM will interpret the bytecode and it will use native code or executable code. It will native code or executable code it will give. Okay, so Python program is compiled and it is giving bytecode. So compilation means in one stroke, in one shot, the program is converted to bytecode. So conversion. Again, this bytecode is sent to PVM. So PVM will interpret the bytecode and it will give a native code or executable code. That's why we are saying like Python is compiled and it is interpreted. Both will be there. So here high level language is converted to middle level and middle level language is converted to low level. That we can see here. So yesterday I've given clear explanation for all this. Like here when we say about C Python also same. Like Python means C Python. It is compiled and it is interpreted. The same thing, the same description is given here. And this C Python is developed by Guido van Rossum. In a previous class, as I said, Python is developed by Guido van Rossum. So Python language, the default implementation is what? C Python. So C Python is developed by whom? Guido van Rossum. Okay. So if any student is learning Python, if any faculty is teaching Python, then that faculty is teaching what? C Python only. It is the default and the most widely used implementation of the language. So if you are downloading Python software and if you are using Python, it means that you are working with what? C Python. It is the combination of C and Python here. So here in my system, system here, here you can see Python is installed here. This is a folder. Python 39, 32 is given. So here 3.9 is there here, 3.9.7 and 32-bit we are using here. I'm using 32-bit here. Okay. So Python software is available in 32-bit, 64-bit. Later we'll discuss. At the time of installation, I'll tell what is the difference between Python 32-bit and Python 64-bit. And while giving example using installation, I will install Python 3.10. 3.9.7 is old version. Okay. When I will explain about the installation, we'll discuss about 3.10 only. I will uninstall this 3.9, 3.9.7, and I will install 3.10. We'll see the steps. So now here in this, you can see the files here, folders you can see, like DLLs is there. And here include. So here you can see header files are there here. Here you can see C Python and header files. In C language, header files will be there, like stdio.h, then iostream.h, other header files will be there. So here you can see all header files. And here you can see C Python. C Python folder is there. And here you can see the other folders. So here scripts, like all these are there here. And to understand clearly like what we are using, here I'll execute one command here. See, if I say Python means nothing but C Python. If I say like this, like some still they may have doubt. Okay, like they may have doubt like what we are using. So here at command prompt, I'll execute this. So in C drive, so here I'm using this. My env5 is given. Okay, so this is the command used in DJANGO that I'm executing here. Only just to know what we are using. So I'll execute this in D drive. Here you can see created virtual environment C Python 3.9.7. So in my system, old version is there. 3.9.7 is there. So it is using that. Like if I install Python 3.10, it will show virtual environment C Python 3.10 it will give. And here it is giving other options here like this. And here you can see Jython or JPython is there. Like this is like for combination. So when you are developing Java application, in a Java application, if you want to use a Python code, then we can use this. So Jython or JPython when you take, like it works with Java packages and it will works with Python packages also. Okay, so it works with Python packages. Like both the coding is allowed. So if you are developing Java applications, in Java applications, if you want to use Python code, okay. So students may have doubt why we should use a Python code in Java applications. So as I said in previous classes, uh, Python is used for mathematical and numerical calculations, and it is used for automation, and it is used to handle big data. Like any application can be developed using Python. All these I've told. Okay. So then in other languages applications, like we may use Python code to perform some task. Then in that case, we can go with Jython or JPython we can use. So this will works with JVM, Java Virtual Machine, it will works. And here you can see Iron Python is there here. So it is the combination of like .NET and Python here. So it contains .NET packages and Python packages will be there. Python packages will be existing. So in C# applications, in .NET applications, if you want to use Python code, if you want to execute, then it contains both, like .NET packages and Python packages. Then that code can run successfully. So it will works. So it works with CLR, and it will works with mono CLR. So common language runtime. Mono CLR means used in Linux. It is used. Okay, and here you can see py is there. So it is called as a Python package index. So it is used to download Python packages, and we can install Python packages here. So that we can do. So the Python packages which are installed by the Python packages which are created by the Python community, Python Software Foundation, we can download and we can install here. So here I am saying package here. So Python package means it is a collection of modules. Modules means Python file, or we can say Python program. So Python program or Python file we can call it as a module. Okay, package is the collection of module here. So we can say library also, library or package. So in Java, when we say package here, like in Java, package means it is the collection of classes and interfaces. It may have set of classes and interfaces. But here in Python, package is the collection of modules. Module can have variables, functions, then classes, and yeah, like all these can be there. And here next one is Ruby Python is there. So here we are having one server side technology, that is Ruby on Rails is there. Okay, so when we are working with Ruby on Rails, then if you want to use a Python code, then we can use this. So Ruby on Rails is the server side technology used for creating websites. Whenever you want to develop websites, then Ruby on Rails we can use it. So it is called as backend technology or server side technology. Okay, like here DJANGO is there, Python related DJANGO. So DJANGO is a framework. It is called as server side. DJANGO is a server side technology, or we can say backend technology, or we can say backend framework used for developing websites. Okay, like DJANGO is backend framework, or it is server side technology. So Ruby on Rails is there. Ruby on Rails, RAILS. It is the server side technology used to develop websites. So in Ruby on Rails, if you want to use Python packages or modules or Python functions or Python objects, we can use. So it is the combination of both Ruby and Python. So whenever you are going with combination, whenever you want to work with different languages, and if you want to allow the language code of one language communicating with code in code with other languages, then we can go for a combination like this. Okay, and here you can see Anaconda Python is there. It is specially designed to handle large volume of data processing here. Okay, large volume of data processing. So this is used in data science. In yesterday class, I've told what is the use of data science. So after completing core and advanced Python, students can learn data science. So then students can work as a data analyst or data scientist. They can work. So data science is used to predict the future. So to know about the future of the business or company or organization. So to to know about the future and to take decisions properly, to make decisions, then in that case data science is used. So to have their own plan, to have their own predictions, to have their own analysis, to run the project business successfully, or organization or company successfully, data science is used. So using this Anaconda Python, they'll take large volume of data of the company or business, and they will analyze the data and they'll generate the reports in different formats. So when you learn data science, you can use that. And here you can see stackless Python is there here. So it is used to perform multiple activities at a time. So whenever you want to perform multiple activities, then by using this stackless Python, it is possible. So multiple activities means getting more than one result at a time. So in that case, stackless Python is used. So in advanced Python, we are having one chapter called multi-threading chapter is there. So in multi-threading chapter, what we are going to do is in multi-threading chapter, we are going to write programs, and those programs will use in Python application. So when we use multi-threading programs in Python application, then it will do multiple activities at a time. So then this stackless Python, this flavor we are not going to use. This software we are not going to use to perform multiple activities. So here you can see different flavors are there here, different flavors. So in all these flavors, default is C Python. Okay, like when I say Python, it is C Python only because we are downloading and we are using it. Okay, so it is a default and most widely used implementation of Python language here. Okay, like in interviews, if interviewer asks like, do you know C Python? Can you do projects? So then your answer should be yes, because we are all teaching C Python only. Python means C Python. So this is about flavors of Python. So now we are going to discuss about the features of Python. So in previous sessions, I have told some features. So we are going to discuss about other important features related to Python. Here you can see first one is Python language is easy to learn and it is easy to use. So as I told before, Python is it is for it is beginners language. So without having any programming knowledge, without knowing the C language basics, students can directly start with Python. So Python syntaxes are very simple. We can remember the syntaxes, we can use it. And Python rules and regulations we can easily follow. Every programming language will have some rules. Those rules we have to follow while doing programming. So it is a friendly language. Python is friendly language. Students can understand like what is the meaning of the statements, like what we are doing, all this. And here it is friendly language and it is easy to learn, easy to use also. After learning Python, if you want to do programming or if you want to do some task, then using Python we can do it easily. And here you can see Python is called as expressive language. So it is more understandable and it is more readable. So it is not difficult like C language, or it is not difficult like Java language. So easily you can understand the code because simple words are used. Like when you take C or C++, Java, .NET, like you have to remember the package names, class names, interface names, function names. Like the names also will be different. Okay, so whatever words that we use regularly, so based on the words, the coding will be there. So simple words are used. Okay, and readability means reading the statements will be easily done. So we can understand the statements and we can understand the meaning, like what is the meaning of that, because simple words are used. And here you can see cross-platform language is there here. So cross-platform language means, as I said before, so Python is it is platform independent at development and also at production. Okay, so when we say at platform independent at development, while learning Python, while practicing Python, while developing applications in Python, so we can use in any operating system. So Python Software Foundation or Python community, so they have developed Python software for different operating systems. So they have developed Python for Windows and Python for Unix, Linux. Here you can see, looking for Python for different operating systems, Unix, Linux, Mac OS, and other operating systems, then we can use this. Okay, so Python software is available for different operating systems for Windows, Unix, Linux, Mac OS, and other operating systems. We For other operating systems we can see here. Okay, so while learning, while practicing, while developing applications, we can use a Python software or Python language in any OS. Okay, and if the application is developed, if a Python application is developed, and that Python application developed in one operating system can be used in other operating systems without doing any changes or without doing any modifications. So directly it will work in other operating systems. So how it is possible is through PVM, Python Virtual Machine. So when we install this virtual machine in physical machine, like that physical machine may have any OS and it may have any CPU architecture. Okay, so it may have any configuration, but a Python application will run successfully in that physical machine. Through PVM, it is possible. So here, Python software we can use in any OS. Software means language. Python applications works in any operating system, in any machine it will works. So in any device it will works. It works in laptop, desktop, tablet PC, in smartphone, in any device it will works, in smart TV, like in any device it will work. And here Python works in different flavors of Unix and Linux that we can see here. So here you can see Python works in different flavors of Unix operating system here. So it works in Sun, Solaris, IBM AX, HP UX, AT&T's System VR4, BSD Unix, DEC Unix, Mac OS, SCO Unix, all these. In all these it will works. So today I've told C language flavors, Python flavors, Unix flavors also you can see. And Python software works in any flavor of Linux. Here you can see many are there. Like Ubuntu is there, Fedora, Linux Mint, OpenSUSE, PC, Linux, OS, Debian, Mandriva, Sabian or Gentoo. All these are there. So in all these Python software will works. Python applications will works. Python software or Python language we can use it. So here I'm using Windows 10 Professional I'm using. And in Windows 10 I'm using Python. So in companies when you work on Python or Python related projects, so they may not prefer Windows operating system because it is not free. It is like a licensed one. So companies may not show interest to take Windows because they have to take a license for many users, for many developers. So it is expensive for them. Okay, so they may ask the developers to use Ubuntu or Fedora like that. So many companies they may use Ubuntu or Fedora. All these are very popular. So they may be using all this. And here next one is free, open source, and redistribution is there here. So Python software is free software, and it is open source. Open source means we can open the Python files, we can open the modules, and we can see what code is what code is written, what functions are created. So Python community or Python software foundation, they are not hiding the code. It is open only. Like if somebody copy and if there's somebody if they're using, they can do that. That possibility is there. But some companies, IT companies, software companies, they will not give the source to the programmers. But this source is open. Okay, and here we can see redistribution also. So redistribution means the whatever Python code is there, Python modules are there, they can be customized. So we can do the changes like according to the requirement, the changes or modifications, changes or modifications can be done. Like for example, when a student learns Python. Okay, so now you are all interested to learn Python. So this will take 2 months. So within 2 months in core and advanced Python, you will learn many chapters and you will be learning many modules, Python modules, and many functions you will learn. Okay, after learning the modules, functions, many libraries, then when you join as a fresher, then whatever you learn in the class you will implement in the project in live or real-time projects you will implement. Okay, so while learning the course, while doing your first or second project, if anybody says like I want to know what is not there in Python, what is missing in Python, so that is not possible. Only to learn it takes time. Like what is there in Python, to learn it takes time, and implementation again it will takes time. Okay, so those who are having 4 or 5 years experience in Python, so those who are doing real-time projects like on big domains like banking, insurance, hotel, hospital, HRM, if they are working on big domains and if they are working on major projects and if they are working as project managers or if they are working as software analysts, then what they can they'll be knowing what is not there in Python, what is missing in Python. Then what they'll do is they can customize the code, they can do changes in Python modules and they can use it. Okay, like only those are having 4 or 5 years experience, they can identify what is not there in Python. So according to that they can do the changes, and they can customize it. Okay, so here customization is possible here. So there is no rule like we have to use the modules as it is. So we can do changes, we can do modifications, and we can use it. So in that case, customization is possible, and whatever code that is customized, it can be redistributed to others. Like if another team is working on the project and if they requires a customized code, like let us say they are working on the same task, then whatever code that is customized for one project, that customized code can be given to the other Python team so that they can use in their project. So that possibility is there, not only using in our projects, so we can share it to others so that others can use in their Python projects. That is called as redistribution, we are calling here. And here next feature is there, that is called object oriented programming is there here. Object oriented programming, like when the students are attending the classes, like I am saying that Python is a powerful language, or I may say like Python is great software, like I may say all these. Okay, but students may have doubt like what exactly this Python is, what language it is, whether it is object-oriented programming language or whether it is some other language. So here when we say about Python, it is called a scripting language. So Python will call it as a scripting language here. So here you can see like many other scripting languages are there here. You can see shell scripting is there, Perl is there, and PHP, TCL/TK. So TCL/TK will use in Python for desktop applications. We are going to use, and here you can see VB script, JavaScript, then Ant, PowerShell, Ruby on Rails. All these are there. All these are the scripting languages, and Python is also a scripting language. So in a scripting language, we can say less coding will be there. Okay, less with less coding we can do the tasks. So here when we are working with Python, Python supports the features of other programming languages. So Python supports procedure oriented programming, like how we do programming in C language. So we are going to do in the same way in Python. Like while working with C language, when we work with basic programs like arrays, functions, structures, then functions, pointers, files, then graphics, like all are there. Like how we do programming in C language, here we are going to do it in the same way. Okay. And here Python supports object-oriented programming, like how we do in C++ and in Java. So here Python we are going to implement complete object-oriented programming. In advanced Python, one chapter is there, that is object-oriented programming chapter is there. In that we are going to see like what is a class, what is an object, and then we'll discuss about object-oriented programming features like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, data abstraction, and then we'll discuss about how to use static in Python, then function overloading, then constructors, and then inheritance, single inheritance, multi-level inheritance examples, and then we'll discuss about operator overloading, then garbage collection, constructors, destructors. So those are not having idea about object-oriented programming. In my classes in advanced Python, we are going to discuss in detail. So students can easily understand object-oriented programming concepts. Okay. And here Python supports scripting language features, like how we work with the shell scripting Perl. Here also we are going to implement the same. And Python supports modular programming features. It will supports here modular programming language. So here there is a language called Module 3. I think many of you may not heard about this language. Module 3 is there. Okay. So in Module 3 we are going to create modules. Modules means Python like programs. Okay. So in Python we are going to implement modular programming features. In Python from the beginning we are going to create modules. Modules means Python files or programs. So module can have variables, functions, properties, then packages, like all these can be there. Okay. So if Python is supporting the features of all these programming languages, then the students may think like it would be very difficult to learn. Okay. After explaining all these features, so now also I'm saying that Python is friendly and it is easy to learn and it is easy to use. So here when we are saying about this object-oriented programming here, so when you develop applications in uh, like in Python, in DJANGO, or in Python related courses like data science or artificial intelligence or robotics or automation, wherever Python code is used in the projects, in live or real-time projects, we have to use object-oriented programming. In live or real-time projects, I'm saying. So in live or real-time projects, when we use object-oriented programming, we have to use class and objects. We have to use classes, objects. We have to use. So when we are implementing object-oriented programming in the applications, in the projects, then that application will get a security, flexibility, and reusability will be there. Okay. So security, flexibility, reusability is not with the data or not with information. So it is related to coding. So we can get security for the code that is used in the project. So flexibility means it can work with other languages code. Okay. And next is a reusability will be there. So using inheritance, we can see reusability we can see here. reusability will be there. With inheritance, we can see, like single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, then hierarchical hybrid inheritance. All these are there. So with all these, we can get all those features, all those options. We can implement. And here you can see memory management is there here. Like when we are working with uh, Python here, we can work with the memory management easily. We can work with. Okay. So when you are working with other programming languages, so when you are working with C, C++, Java, .NET, all these languages, all these are called as strongly typed languages. Okay. So when you are working with C, C++, Java, .NET, so you should have clarity about what all data types are there, how many bytes they are going to use, then what values we should store, what is the range of the values. All these we should have clarity. Okay, then only we can work with then only we can do programming. Okay, so we should have clear idea about memory management, like preserving, storing values in the memory, all this. So in C language, if I give like this, int a, then char s of 20, and here I'll say float b is given here. Float b is given. So here when we say char a in C language, in C language we are going to give like this. So in variable a we can store integer value, and for integer value it preserves 2 bytes. So it is int 16. So 16 means 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. So 16 bit means 2 bytes it will take. Okay. So here in variable a we can store only integers, but we cannot store characters, because here we are giving the data type. So it is strongly typed. According to the given data type, we have to store similar data. We cannot store some other values. It is not possible. So char s of 20 means we can store 20 characters. For 20 characters, it preserves 20 bytes. So numbers also will be in character format. We can store numbers. They are also in character format. And here you can see float b is there. It is used to store decimal values. For this, it will take 4 bytes in the memory. Okay. So here when we say about this Python here, it is called as a loosely typed language. It is a loosely typed language. Like we can see, examples like JavaScript is loosely typed, PHP, Ruby, like all are loosely typed languages only. Loosely typed means we are not going to use data types in the we are not going to use data types in the program. Like while working with core Python, advanced Python, DJANGO, or other Python related courses, we are not going to use data types in the program. Okay. So other languages data types will call them as static data types, like in C, C++, Java, .NET. So why they are called as static data types is compiler will assign the data types to the variables at compilation time. Because we are giving data types at compilation time, it will assign the values to the data type to the variables. So in Python we are not going to use data types here. Like we will not write int a equal to 10, then string s equal to, like this will not give. So we'll never use data types in Python here. Okay. So Python data types are called as a dynamic data types. So data types are assigned to the variables at runtime. When the program is executed, then at the time data types are assigned to the variables given in the program. Okay. So Python is a language. It is having data types. It is having operators. It is having if condition, for loop, while loop. All these are there. All these are there. So, but we are a programmer is not using data types. program will assign data types to the variables. Or we can say Python is going to assign data types to the variables at runtime or when the program is being executed. Okay, like for example, I'll give like this, a equal to 100. If I say a equal to 100, in Python it is int variable. So it can be int 32 or it can be int 64. Int 64. Okay. So why? Because is Python software is available in 2 bits, like 32 Python 32-bit and Python 64-bit. Python 64-bit will say. Okay. So in my system Windows, Windows 10 Pro is there, Windows 10 Professional. So I'm using Windows 64-bit. I'm using. So Python we can use the 32-bit or 64-bit. In other softwares also, 32-bit is there, 64-bit will be there. So we can choose like whichever is required we can use. So if I use int 32, if I use Python 32-bit or Python 64-bit, so it makes no difference. But like packages, modules, functions, the difference will not be there. Statements difference will not be there. Difference will be in memory. Only in memory management difference will be there. Okay. So here you can see, here I'll type. Here when I give this, ideally here Python 3.9 32-bit. I'm using 32-bit here. You can use 64-bit also. I will tell how to install 32-bit, how to install 64-bit. We'll see how to do that. Okay. So here in my system 32-bit is there, Python. If I say a equal to 100, then the program will assign data type as int 32. Int 32 it will take for this variable. Int 32 means 32 bits, like 4 bytes. So if I'm using Python 64-bit, and if I write like this, a equal to 100, then it will assign int 64 to this variable. Int 64 means it will preserve 8 bytes. Like that, the difference will be there. Okay. So in difference, we can see in memory. Here I've told one example, like how internally it is used, data types. Okay. And here, when we are working with these data types here, so here in this you can see Python programmers need not focus on memory management because memory is managed, memory is used internally by the program. Okay. Like here, no need to like check what data type to use, like what values we have to store, what is the range of the values, all this, because we are not going to use data types. Based on the values we store, program will assign data types to the variables and stores the values. In Python, programmers need not focus on memory management. Memory is used by the program. Program will do it everything. Okay. So about this memory management, like examples I have to give, but time is not there. About the examples related to memory management, we'll say I'll execute some statements. Now it is not possible. Tomorrow we'll see that. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see examples using memory management, and then we'll discuss about what applications we can develop in Python, and then we'll discuss about Python installation, then interactive mode, batch mode, all these we are going to see in tomorrow's class. Okay. So any doubts, students? So anyone registered for this batch? So those who did not join for this batch, those who did not register, so please talk to online team. Okay. So please talk to online team and they will send you the payment details. And after that, I'll take email IDs from online team and I'll send you the notes and previous classes videos and this class video I'll send to your mail ID. Okay, students.